information, and we got him in the house today. So I want to let you know, if you want to give us a call, the phone number here is 813-444-9588. You're able to give us a call and weigh in. Maybe you want to ask Freddie or myself some questions. The phone lines are open. Without further ado, Freddie, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me over here.
Well, it's exciting to have Freddie in our studio because of what he does. A lot of you guys, a lot of my followers, a lot of our followers for the show know how important it is for our juveniles in our community. How I go after them, how I try to curve the mark of the incarceration rate in our community. And we actually have a man in the house who does that field work every single day, to the point where I was just joking with him before that, hey, man, any man that comes with a secretary, man, I got to look at him differently. So, Freddie, please, if you could please start the show off by telling our community what Safe and Sound is.
Yeah, so again, thanks for having me here. So Safe and Sound, we're the Violence Prevention Collaborative of Hillsborough County. So we take a public health approach to reducing violence. We got started in the aftermath of the shooting in Newtown, Connecticut at Sandy Hook Elementary. When that tragedy happened, it wasn't a wake-up call because we already knew these things were happening, but it was a reminder that this thing could possibly hit Hillsborough County. We then saw it again when we saw the shooting down in Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, right here in Florida. So back in 2013 and 14, a county commissioner pulled together a think tank of individuals to answer one question: what can we do to prevent Hillsborough County from being the next epicenter of a mass shooting or incident of mass trauma? Spent a while to do that, had a whole bunch of people to come together. We finally got the answer. The answer is nothing, really. You can't predict the random shooter, hence the name random shooter. But what we can do is look at what causes a person to go down that path in the first place, right? What causes a person to feel that there is no other alternative in their life than to hurt themselves or others. So we look at the contributing factors of violence. We look at deterioration in neighborhoods, lack of out-of-school time, and lack of mentorship opportunities for kids. When we look at our policies, are they equitable and fair? Do we have workforce opportunities? But how do we address those who are in the system and at risk of going into our system? And those are the juvenile justice systems and the adult criminal justice system. So through a partnership of all of our major elected officials and their agencies, from the Board of County Commissioners, the cities, the police chiefs and the mayors of Tampa, Temple Terrace, Plant City, the state attorney's office, the public defender's office, the sheriff's office, the school district, the 13th Judicial Circuit, and the Children's Board. All of those agencies came together to make up the leadership structure of Safe and Sound. So those are my bosses, right? So those are the ones.
How many does he have?
and then I have the most important boss, which is the community, right? So the Leadership Council helps provide initial funding support, but also advocacy and policy work. But then I go to the community and ask the community, all right, so what do you need? Over the last couple of years, we've been thrust into a major effort to reduce and prevent gun violence, specifically with these kids. Every morning, man, I'm in court. And when I say every morning, I'm in court, juvenile detention court, Christmas Day. I'm in court the day after Christmas, which means kids got arrested on Christmas Day. And we're starting to see more and more kids get arrested on gun crimes. Just this morning, we had 5 kids that were arrested yesterday, one being a 15-year-old in possession of a firearm. In the last 7 days, we've had 6 kids arrested on a gun or weapon-related charge, man.
Freddie, I don't mean to pause you there, but question: do you think that the children are getting more guns because guns are more accessible now?
So yes and yes. So the short answer is guns are being more accessible, but they're easily accessible because people are still doing the stupid things, right? Over 80% of the guns that are recovered in the commission of a crime are taken from unlocked cars. And I don't mean an unlocked car and the glove box is locked. I mean the glove box is open. It's easily able to get in the glove box, and the car doors are unlocked as well. These kids are getting their hands on the guns that way. They're stealing garage remotes, and they're waiting for people to leave, and they open the garage to see if there's a safe or something in the garage, and then therefore getting into the house. But they're also getting them through social media. They're finding the other kids who have them, and they're buying and selling online.
This is true. One of the things that I think, there's a lot of factors that influence a child to want to pick up a firearm. But I think, somebody who has been there, I think the children are not educated enough on what a gun carries.
Yeah.
With the 10-20 life statute, you
right.
Pull it, you fire it, you hit somebody. I think once you can take them to a place or bring somebody to them and say, You want to be this type of individual.
Right.
You want to pull this firearm. This is the time. All the Michael Jordan tennis shoes you like, all those girls you like chasing, all the eating at grandma's house. That's over with for the next 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
Can you stand that?
Yeah. So I saw something on Facebook. And we actually printed it out, and someone posted. They had a picture of a bathroom, and they said, the next time you think you want to pick up a gun, sit in this bathroom for 2 hours. And see if you could stay like this for the rest of your life for 10, 20, 30 years, because this is going to be your life if you pick up a gun. These kids don't have any sense of consequences. And so we started a youth gun offender program, and we take them to trauma centers, we're taking them to morgues, we take them to funeral homes. We sit them in front of people who lost their children to gun violence, and we also sit them in front of the voice that few people actually hear from, and that's the people who've committed some of these offenses. I got guys who are on life parole right now because of murder, for manslaughter, for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and they spend anywhere from 27 to 33 years in prison, and they sit in front of these kids and say, look, this ain't the life that you want. And one of them says something so profound. He said, I'm out, I'm working, I have a family, I'm making decent money in my job, but I got 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
And could lose it at any time.
At any time. And they said, he tells them, you guys may think that, life is hard, but you can go across the bridge and go to St. Pete anytime you want to. I got to check in with somebody and ask permission to do that, even though I'm a grown man, 50 plus years old, right?
Right. Freddie, I think a lot of people want our children to be safe.
Yeah.
And the first thing I want to say is, we are so appreciative that we have somebody who has walked to the front of the line to lead us in that direction. My sister told me today on the way here that, when God calls you to do things, you may not be in the front of the line to lead to where we need to go.
Yeah.
But eventually, if he pushed you in front of that line, you have a sense of responsibility. You are who we go to or look to for advice, for encouragement, for support, for direction. And I can't say it enough. I'm definitely going to say it on air to all of our fans in our community that, we are so appreciative to have you at the front of our line. If you study your body of work, you look at all your partnerships, we look at who you're involved with. It's a sound group that can lead not only our community, but our future generation to a better path.
Yeah.
So, a big thing for our numbers is, obviously you see juveniles, and I said this at my book release party, and I said this other places I've spoken at, USF, that, Florida leads the nation in sending juveniles to prison. Florida will lock your child up and send him to prison faster than trying to put your son or daughter in a college education.
Yeah.
So we lead the nation in this. And we have to, for our community, Hillsborough County, we wonder where does that stand at as far as putting children in prison.
Yeah. And to put it in perspective, and you have to ask yourself, man, well, why? And you have to look at, in 2022, we had over 300 shootings, fatal and non-fatal, in the city of Tampa and parts of Hillsborough County. Those numbers are double what we saw in 2021. In the first 3 months of 2023, we were already on track to beat those numbers from 2022. These lawmakers and members of law enforcement, they're not playing. They're saying, look, this is getting way out of control, and if you decide to do certain things, these penalties are getting harsher, right? And you gotta get in front of these kids. Right now, we've got several problems that are contributing to this gun violence issue. We have one, kids don't have much to do. Over the summer, man, we had so many programs that were working, right? A lot of summer programs were out there. But some kids couldn't access it because their parents didn't have the money to put them in a good camp. They didn't have the transportation to get them to some of the free opportunities, or there was some other barrier. So if kids don't have something positive to do, they're going to find something to do. We have kids raising kids right now. We don't have the old wisdom, from some of our elders that we used to, right? Our parents are younger, and they don't necessarily have the coping skills. And then we have kids right now they process information so fast. They get information overload because of social media and technology, but yet they lack the coping skills and the life skills to deal with pressures. Now, just because you bump into me, just because you scuff my shoe, just because you like the same girl I like or something, and I don't know how to process this, my first alternative is to go pick up a gun. And we're seeing it happen more and more. We got to start talking to these kids and get ahead, because this life, man, it's not a video game. You don't respawn if you die, right?
Right. Well, give us a call. Like I said, our phone number is 813-444-9588. We have Freddie Barton in the building. We want to definitely get as much time and questions as we possibly can with Freddie. Freddie, now, to my understanding, the Safe and Sound is at one location?
So our administrative office is at geographically. So we are in Hillsborough County, right? So there's not a Safe and Sound. We haven't planted the flag anywhere else, but we're all over Hillsborough County. Our administrative office is over at the Children's Board. We have 2 park facilities that we operate out of. One by the Fairgrounds Kings Forest Recreation Center. That's actually where we house our reporting center for juvenile male offenders. And then we have another facility in Town and Country that we use as a workforce development and also community hub. We also have partner organizations where we go in. We're anchored by the CDC of Tampa, out in East Tampa. They're our fiscal agent. So we work with them and over at some of their facilities that they do. But we're in Hillsborough County. The interesting thing, though, is we've kind of done some sister city projects, right? So Milwaukee, we're a part of the national My Brother's Keeper network that President Obama launched in 2016. So there are 5 other cities in the state of Florida that are working with us to improve the status of boys and young men of color. And so we have partners all throughout to say, hey, man, what is the things that Safe and Sound is doing? We want to do the same thing. And then we also look at other agencies and say, hey, we want to replicate what you're doing.
Do you think that as you move forward in the development of Safe and Sound, do you think that eventually there will be satellite facilities around our community? Because, when you're saying I got one in Town and Country, that's all the way West Hillsborough, and then you said Kings Forest, which is off of Orient Road somewhere in Chelsea, I believe. And that's the 2 beacons that you have. But what about the families that stay in Ruskin or Waimama, that's or Apollo, or the Riverview, Valrico, Brandon? So many times our community says we want to target our inner city, because you could definitely say that Town and Country to East Tampa, that's still an inner city. But what about the outskirts?
Yeah, when we first started, we had to ask the question, all right, so where are we going to start working? Hillsborough County is over 1,000 square miles, so it's impossible to think that we can go everywhere. So we use data to kind of point us in 4 service areas. So we work in East Tampa, 33610 and surrounding zip codes, in University area, 33612 and surrounding areas. We are in South County. We do some programming in the Waimama and Ruskin areas down in 33598, and then also over in Plant City. But then since then, we've grown and done stuff now in Town and Country. We go over to Temple Terrace. But Safe and Sound has to, we're not in the business of, okay, let's start a project over here, now let's go do it somewhere else. We want to make sure that we have lasting power, but then also teach the residents and some of these other organizations how to do the same work. Shout out to other organizations who are doing work on the front line, like Rise Up for Peace and G3 and Bubba and Men of Vision, who are working with our kids every single day, but they don't necessarily have the infrastructure to handle grants or to go after certain funding or do administrative reports and have that back office. So what I tell them is, look, I'm in a position where we can teach you how to do this stuff so you can continue your work. So I want you to come here and we're going to learn how to write grants. We're going to learn how to do certain things in the community. We're going to teach you how to actually mentor kids and also adults that are coming into this work.
Man, we definitely have to take a commercial break right here to pay some bills. Please give us a call back after the break, 813-444-9588. We are here with the Stay Woke Show with Freddie Burton. We'll be right back.
So believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen of sundown. 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, push your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky, is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and giving you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
You've been injured, you deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is attorney Clinton Paris from the Law Office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, Attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the Law Office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecue? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
We're playing your favorite old school. Today's R&B. With a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
Tampa Bay. Welcome back to Stay Woke. I'm your host, Walter Dunn. We got our special guest in the studio today, Mr. Freddie Barton from Safe and Sound here in Tampa Bay. Safe and Sound is a prevention program set up to help prevent our juveniles from incarceration and basically anything to do to keep them safe. But we have Freddie in the building. We definitely want to get back to our interview. First of all, like I said earlier, Freddie, we want to appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you.
Now that we have you back, another question I would like to ask you on air is, how can we get the community more involved to help Safe and Sound?
Yeah, so we put on projects all throughout the county, and what we really want is we want the community, one, to participate in some of these forums and events, but then two, to give us the feedback on what they feel is necessary or is needed in their communities. Right now, we know, in addition to gun violence, and a part and contributing factor to gun violence is mental wellness, right? And we have to address mental health. Safe and Sound, we provide mental health first aid trainings for free, right, to any resident, any organization, and it's an 8-hour course. We want residents to go through that. It's absolutely free. We have the funding to do it, and it teaches people how to identify the signs and symptoms of someone with mental illness and to provide that initial handoff of services. So, but we can't get that message out fast enough and wide enough without the community support. Right now, we're partnered with a couple of organizations, Rise Up for Peace, the TPD, and the Sheriff's Office on a back to school event, just like all these others that are out there. But we always have a gun violence prevention message. It's being over right now at Kings Forest Park at 8008 East Chelsea. We want the community to come out there and talk to us. So, you know, as we try to put things together with the community's input, we need the community to help stay with us and also echo our message, and then keep us on the same path, on the right path, right? Let us know if there's something that we're not addressing. You know, the power in Safe and Sound's leadership structure is you have the public defender who sits on the board. She's our board chair. You have the state attorney. You have the sheriff. You have the police chiefs there. You have the children's board CEO. You have county commissioner there. So you have the button pushers of the county, of this area, all sitting together. And it's the interesting thing about that is you have the state attorney and the public defender who are always on different sides of an issue because of naturally in their roles, but they come together with Safe and Sound. So if you have something that you want done in your community, you can come to that board meeting and you have literally the people who can make something happen right then and there. But we can't do that unless we get the community to buy in and help us.
You know, to be able to have Susie Lopez and Julian Holt to sit at a table is monumental in our community. You know, as he said, those are two individuals that, you know, they put on the gloves every day. You know, Monday through Friday, they're gonna you know, battle it out. But to put differences aside and recognize that we need to do the best, we need to have our best interests for our children, I think is incredible.
Yeah, nobody, and I always say it doesn't matter whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever party, nobody wants to bury their child. No one, right? And no one wants their child not to feel safe. So just like you said, you have to put your differences aside and say, now what can we do together to prevent this stuff from happening, man? And that's what happens at Safe and Sound.
I think that's awesome. And to be able to look at it from a statistical standpoint, with law enforcement, to say, okay, you know what, a rise in juvenile trouble has sparked in this area.
Right.
A rise in juvenile gun violence has risen in this area. And then to be able to get that data, is it Safe and Sound's initiative to go target that community to say, hey, let's get out and talk to somebody. Let's maybe throw a sponsorship party out here. Let's get their mind off of violence and get it onto some type of prevention.
Yeah. So, and that's again how the community can help. So what we ask is if we see that there's something that's rising in a certain part of the area in the county or the city, and someone says, you know what, I want to put something together. Let's get back to kickball. Let's do a gun violence interruption event. Let's do a kickball tournament. Have these kids come out, law enforcement officers, y'all come out and play with the kids too, so we can talk and improve relationships. Safe and Sound can help fund that, right, and put that together with you, and then show you how to do it, right, so you can do it on your own down the line. Like, we're looking for people. We have so many people that say, hey, man, I got this great idea. I just don't know how to go about doing it. We may not be able to do it all, but we can at least point you in the right direction, right? Because we've been doing this work for so long. So, we definitely stand at the ready to just help people out, and because it's bigger than Safe and Sound, bigger than TPD, the sheriff's office, bigger than any agency, man. We can only see, make a dent if we all come together, man. So, but we're here to help.
Freddie, I think one of the big questions that, I definitely got over text just a few minutes ago from a couple of the audience is, what made you want to get in this work, Freddie? What inspired you to say, you know what, I'm going to take this role and I'm going to do my best and God-given ability to protect our community?
So prior to taking on Safe and Sound, I was the COO for another nonprofit, CDC of Tampa in East Tampa. I've always been in community work and always had a passion for kids. I remember when I was in college that I was helping somebody learn something on the computer. I was kind of a techie, a nerd kind of guy when I was in school. And it wasn't me knowing how to do something. It was I saw their face light up when I showed them how to do something on the computer. And God told me right then, your mission in life is to help people get better. Not necessarily be a teacher, not be an instructor, but help people get better at something. And ever since then, I've just had a passion for community. And, God gave me a brain that can, process things and look at numbers and stats and all that. So I tied all that together with all of my experience to then take on this role with Safe and Sound. It doesn't come without its challenges, its headaches every day, because we do so much good work. We're working with these kids and we see the change that it's making. And then, boom, the next day I hear that a shooting happened in the county, or I see another kid, one of our kids got in trouble again or something didn't connect. And so it takes the wind out your sails, but then you shake it off. You go ahead, you go home, you get up the next day and you do it again, because at least you know that at least one of these kids, one of these families is going to be impacted. And that's what gives me strength to keep going.
Amen. It's definitely got to be a difficult burden to know that you put in so much work and then the next day there's a shooting.
Yeah.
I have I have law enforcement friends and people in my family and very close to me, and there are times where they reach out to me and say, this took place. Is there anything that you could do to maybe go in this community and speak to some children, or can you I did that for Middleton High School just recently. There was a report that was dropped down to me and in private that hey, there had been some violence that increased, and I went out and spoke to the football team at Middleton, just taking I know I actually know the football coach, so to be able to go in our community. A lot of people don't understand that we want things to transpire for our children, but a lot of people don't want to go in and put the work in.
Right,
so we want to say, hey man, we got to lower the numbers. We don't want our children to go to incarceration, but there's really nobody that's going in the community doing the field work to say, hey, let's prevent this at a best that we possibly can. But my question is there any future events that's coming up that we can make our community and our viewers aware of what Safe and Sound, so that way we can put maybe on our calendar to say we need to show up, we can show some support or bring our viewers out, so that way
Yeah, absolutely. So, like today, we have a back to school event that we're doing, and we're having a gun violence message. We've got our mental health first aid trainings. We've got a calendar. The easiest thing is you can go on our social media, on our Facebook page, but also on our website. On our website, we've got our upcoming events. We've got our programs and services. We've got some pretty big announcements coming within the next couple of weeks.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
What is spoiler alert?
We've got some interesting things, some great opportunities for the community to get engaged. Again, we put on programs and services, but we also support other organizations. So we've got a couple of announcements that's coming out. Another thing and a cool project, as we talked offline, we commissioned a short film to address gun violence. It's called Blink. It's about 17 minutes in length, and it talks about not just the shooting, but what causes a kid to feel like this, right? And it's a classic story, but it's very impactful. We are getting ready to begin. I'm writing the script now with our director on Blink 2. We're calling it Blink Twice. And we want local talent. We want community members to be in this film, right? So, in multiple roles. So, if you out in the community, if you have kids or you yourself want to get into some light acting, we're going to be doing a casting call.
Light acting, somebody trying to make it.
And it was a really cool project. You can go on our website to watch it. No matter who you are, if you're a kid, if you're a parent, if you're a teacher, member of law enforcement, or just a resident out in the community, it'll hit you. It'll impact you, right? It's not the cookie cutter kind of film. We wanted it to be honest and real about what's happening right now, because these kids don't understand. These bullets don't have names on them. And most times when we see these shootings out in the community, the people who are getting hit are sometimes unintended victims, just random bystanders, man. And so we have that addressed in the film too. So, but we're going to have that casting call and that call for different scenes that we want the community to come on out and be a part of.
If you are trying to be in a film and you are trying to make it, and you think you got some acting skills,
this is your shot.
This is your shot to go on Safe and Sound website, put your name in the raffle, and see that you can get a leading role. In the next, our studio engineer is getting on Facebook right now to drop. But yeah, I think that's terrific. A lot of things that we do in our community, especially for our children, it's just more of a pet rally. A lot of people just want to cheer the next person on, but like I was telling you earlier, a lot of people don't want to do the field work. Yeah. But I think, honestly, Freddie, there are a lot of people in our community that want to do the field work, but just don't know how.
And man, I'm telling you, so we every day, Monday through Friday, we have a program that with these kids who are getting arrested, right? And these charges are as little as possession or loitering and prowling, or all the way up to battery or aggravated assault with a weapon or something like that. We know that there are people out here who can impact the lives of these kids. I want you to contact us. You can come to our center. We talk to you about things. You can be a mentor. We need mentors, especially men. We need adult males to speak to these young men because they don't have that in their life. So if you want to impact a life, get in contact with us. We have kids literally every day that are in our juvenile justice system that need people to kind of talk to them.
I'm going to say this right here before we go to break for our last break. Freddie, I'm putting my name in the hat now here on air. You got me, to come down and speak to the children. We're going to take a quick commercial break for our last one. Stay with us for our last bit of our interview. Stay woke.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here-for-you.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecue? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.
When it comes to reality radio, everyone is a star.
I know that's right.
On your smooth soul and R&B station.
On the World Wide Web.
Access granted.
In Touch Radio.
Welcome back, Tampa Bay. I'm your host here at the Stay Woke Show, Walter Dunn. I have the infamous Freddie Barton on our show today to talk about protecting our juveniles in our Tampa Bay community. I cannot say this enough. Safe and Sound has the ability to change how we parent our children. And a lot of things that we need to do as a parent is we don't need to rely on a program or an organization to come into our households to give us the best ideas to keep our children safe. Our number one task as a parent should be to keep your children educated and then keep them safe. A lot of times we are misinformed, and just to say it, Freddie, our parent age group is getting younger. Before, the mom, grandma would be in their life. Now sometimes we have children raising children. Right. So sometimes the information is not there. It's not readily available for them to give them the best information to keep their child safe because they're still young as well. Right. So from an educational standpoint, me personally, Freddie, I told you this before air. A lot of people know my story. If you go to my social media, you go to my LinkedIn, you go to my my platforms, people will know the journey that I've taken to get my freedom back, but also to safeguard the freedom of others. Yeah. Harriet Tubman was an inspirational story for me when I was incarcerated. She was somebody who got free and did something inconceivable. Once she gained her freedom, she went back and started pulling other people out of slavery. Right. Even putting her life and the life of others at risk. And I feel it'll be my life's passion to continue to safeguard people from going down the path that I went through in the justice system. Yeah. I'm not afraid to tell you or tell our community. I know what it's like to watch a system fail me. Mm-hmm. I know what it's like to stand in the courtroom and see it go the other way. I also know what it's like, as you said, with one of your workers, to be judged. Mm-hmm. But when you're doing God's work, you don't worry about the judgment. Right. When you doing his plan and working for his purpose, you're not worried about the naysayers or to be ridiculed, because at the end of the day, it's about protecting other people's lives. And I understand that. I watch children as young as 14, 15, 16 years old come to prison. Yeah. And may have made a mistake and did something in society, got failed through the justice system and came to prison and got victimized. Yep. Because you have people that have been incarcerated 10, 15, 20 years, seeing this innocent child come to prison, and horrible things happen to that child where mom, dad, or society could not protect them anymore. Right. And it hardens, and then it hardens that child, and as they get into adulthood, and then if they are fortunate enough to get out, think about now how that cycle is now going to restart, because now you have a hardened individual who wasn't like that when he or she went in, and now they come out and they cause more wreckage, upon the community and their family too. And so it's this vicious cycle, but it can all hopefully be prevented. One, parents, you got to stay involved in the life of your kids. I don't care. I know it's tough. I know parents out there that are tired because their kids are getting in trouble in school or, committing some offenses. But we got to stay on top of them, man. I got to give you a shout out too, man, because, one thing you learned, and I heard a pastor say this, you've never seen a cow drink milk and you've never seen a chicken eat an egg. They do those things because it's a gift to others, right? When you go through something and you're able to provide, you're able to come out of something, it's your responsibility to give that gift to somebody else and teach them and let them understand what you've been through so that they can learn and then apply it to their own selves and hopefully prevent them from going down a certain path. And that's what we need more of. As you mentioned, we have kids who are going through the system and they speak with some of these individuals who've been in prison, and some of them went into prison, spent 20, 30 years of their life, but they started when they were 16, 17. And so they're telling these kids, look at you right now. You're young, you're vibrant, you're beautiful, you've got all the time in the world. You make one decision. The next time somebody sees you, you're gray,
you're old, you're battered, you're weathered, and you might be able to still live a life, but you took 30 years out of your life, and you took 30 years out of your parents, your community's life, your friend's life, your loved one's life. You took multiple years. So for this one offense, you may think you did 10 years. You did a total of 90 years because of all the other people who've had to sit and wait because you were inside, right? So we got to get that message out to these kids, man.
It's not, as I was fighting for my freedom, Freddie, one of the biggest prayers that I had was, I was losing people.
Mm-hmm.
I said this at my book release party. When I was losing friends, I was losing family members, people were dying on me. Most people were just, turning their back on me. My mom said something very profound. She said, you wasn't losing people, Walt. God was removing people from your life that couldn't further your purpose.
Yep.
And now that, I'm home and I'm able to do my advocacy work, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
That the people that's in my life is to propel me to do his work, to be able to safeguard our family and our children from going down that heartache and pain. I watched the mother get old. I watched, an aunt get old. I watched, losing a grandfather. So those children out there don't understand that hey, a decision or being at the wrong place at the wrong time or for something just to pop off, you're not thinking about the next 15, 20 years because you're going to be doing them. And then when you look back, you're going to regret, making that decision when us as parents and as leaders of our community should be teaching that.
And, we're about to go back to school, right? So I know all these parents are happy as hell because their kids about to get out the house and go to school.
No more daycare.
And then these, this F word comes up, this friend word, right? So now these kids are going to come out there. Parents need to know who their kids are hanging with. But you need to also teach them the true definition of a friend. And we teach this with our parent, with our parent focus group sessions and everything. We tell our kids, a friend will do three things, a true friend. They'll support you when you're right, they'll check you when you're wrong, and they'll love you regardless. If you don't have a person that does all three of those things, that is not a friend. And you need to understand that in your life, you will only be able to go with them so far. And once you recognize that they don't do those three things, you need to let them go so that you can propel yourself further, because right now they're just holding you back, right? And so, and I tell them, and when we say that to kids, the parents are like, well, hell, I need to do that too, because I
need to clean up my backyard.
Right. So we're trying to get that kind of messaging out to these kids, because right now these kids are getting ready to go to school, and they're still got pressure, they're still stressed, they're still angry, and they got to know that they got to surround themselves with people that love them, support them, but check them, and then will be with them for the rest of their life.
I agree, Freddie. I was profound. Accept me, encourage me when I'm right, check me when I'm wrong, and still love me regardless of what.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely a solid foundation for a friendship. But I look at our leaders, Freddie. I look at our leaders of our community. How engaged would you think they are to seeing this commitment go through where we prevent violence in our community? And I know where you sit at. So, I don't want you to call people out. I'm just saying, do you think that they see the vision and their passion levels up? Because, a lot of people say, I'm for this, and then their actions don't level up. Like a lot of people say, I love you, but when it comes to seeing the love or seeing the passion, it just doesn't level up. So you have to wonder, is it a front or is it real commitment for change?
I think it's a couple of things, man, and I'm going to say it with love, right? Especially in our communities, man. We try to hold on to our little piece of the pie, right? So much that we don't necessarily want to try to work with other people, because then we feel we may lose control, right? We may lose some power, and we got to get over that. We got to know that this issue with these kids and this community, the only way it's going to happen is if we work together. So we got to have more churches going out into the community instead of waiting for these folks to come into their walls, right? We got to have more aggressive, and we do have a great pastoral network here, but we can do better, right?
Fred, I mean to cut you off, but about 2 weeks ago, maybe it was 3, I went, my mother works in the healthcare, and the Tampa Bay Bucks partnered with Advent Healthcare. I shot a video down there, I put it on my social media, but they opened up the training facility for healthcare for them to set up, booths all around the facility for you to go to each, section and meet new healthcare professionals. And when I was in there, I had a premonition that why is it that and I know the Bucks have a social justice where they give back to the community. I'm still searching day and night to know where those funds go to, or, we got 1,000 Bucks fans, but would it not be a best move to utilize that training facility to bring all walks of life from every part of our city for children, to bring them in there. One, to maybe meet some Bucks players, because you know how children get excited to see a famous athlete that they support. But more importantly, to bring them all in one building and then give them a message about staying out of trouble, and maybe do a true partnership with the Bucks on, hey, if you graduate or you have a 3.0 GPA, you can, maybe we sponsor give a raffle. You come for a raffle for games. But, when I was walking in that facility, I thought about, I used to be a huge Bucks fan back in the day when they had like Warwick Dunn and stuff like that. But, to be able to be in the training facility and then maybe house 20,000 children. Yeah. How impactful, because if you didn't make it, you're gonna hear about it at school. Like, hey man, I just met with the Bucks. I got a chance to go into the practice facility. I heard an awesome message from Safe and Sound, and they talked about how important my education and my athletics would be, and staying out of the street. And then this is a partnership with maybe the Bucks, or maybe the Lightning, or maybe some of these teams that we have in our area could really integrate into our children.
So I will say, with the Bucks, they are trying, right? So they do have a social justice program. We actually partner with them to work with middle school kids over at Young Middle, and we expose the kids to players. So we have a youth leadership program where once a month, so throughout the year, they have a staff member of the Buccaneer organization that serves as their mentor throughout the year, focused on academics, behavior, and conduct, right? But then also once a month, they do these sessions with the players, right? So now you're meeting these larger-than-life individuals, but we're not talking about, focusing on sports. It's, let's talk about the leader that you are, right? Let's talk about how to work with a team. Let's talk about conflict management. Now, but because that's just one program with only 25 kids, you got to figure out a way to take it to scale. Shout out to some of the folks over at the Bucks who recognize that we got to do a lot more, right? So they have been trying to figure out what's the best way to open up and use this. Of course, COVID kind of set everybody back with plans, and now we're trying to get back to things. But, they can't necessarily do things. Lightning can't do things. Rays can't do anything unless the community says, hey, this is what we're willing to do too, right? And so there's some give and take on both sides. I know that every organization out there can do more to serve our community, but we also got to recognize some of the things that are working too, right? So I do know that we have that program that we're working with the Bucks. I know that they support things over the NFL Yet Center and a couple of other things, but they need to hear about other projects and services and programs. The Lightning has their Community Hero Foundation that you can go ahead and talk about your organization or your neighborhood, and they can try to help and support. I think that there's also a lack of information on how to access this stuff too, right? So we got to get to that point too.
We definitely got to get to that. I'm getting the signal that we definitely taking our last commercial break. I will be back for our last segment with Mr. Freddie Barton. We want to thank you so much for tuning in. Stay woke.
In Touch Radio is smooth soul.
Rocking your radio on the sounds of soul.
Playing your favorite R&B. In Touch Radio.
Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen of sundown 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, plus your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and getting you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
Hi, it's Angela Birdsong, and I I want to recommend highly that if you're an attorney, that you get a quote for errors and omissions insurance from Sam Cohen at Attorneys First. He's had over 20 years of experience, and he knows how to work with attorneys. Call him at 727-799-4321.
Nestled in the heart of West Tampa, the Maduro Marauder Cigar Lounge offers a wide variety of premium cigars from Esteli, Nicaragua. In addition, the lounge offers a relaxed environment for you to come back, lay, chill, and relax and smoke a great cigar. Visit us at our brick and mortar location, 1944 West Main Street, Tampa, as well as online, www.maduromarauders.com.
Welcome back. Stay woke. This is our last segment. We got Freddie Martin in the station, executive director from Safe and Sound. He has been with us the whole hour, giving us good information on how we can protect our community. What are some of the things that we can look forward to? Obviously, he said earlier that they're dropping another movie. If you haven't seen the first one, you need to go to their website, Safe and Sound. You can definitely watch a short video, a movie on gun violence from a great perspective. I got a chance to watch it the second day it was released. Good information there. They also have information on their website about where you can partner with the community and how you can help. But as you know, we got Freddie in the booth, so we try to get the inside information. Right before break, we were talking about the Tampa Bay Bucks and how they can get involved. There is a guy named Brian Ford who is a fantastic gentleman. He is the COO of the Bucks. He goes down to city council, I want to say one Thursday every month, and he gives out community awards for people who have did outstanding work into the community. I've been there on hand where Mr. Ford has donated gift cards and signed autographed footballs for law enforcement who has did outstanding work, or just no ordinary people in our community who has risen to the level of recognition. So one of my big passions is that every year entertainment, as I would call it, Buccaneers or any other football team, there's always one or two people that are on that team that gets in trouble, and they don't understand the fundamental impact that they have on our children.
Right.
And one of my personal passions is to maybe like every year after the preseason's up, they have a banquet, and then they go into the regular football season. I've tried to reach out to him personally. If he doesn't have good information out there, so he's kind of hard to get a hold of. He doesn't have his email on the Bucks website. You gotta, I think I gotta run him down through a football player or somebody who works in the office. But one of my biggest goals is I would love to speak at that presentation to inform and educate, our superstars, our heroes, on how important it is for them to conduct themselves the right way. Because you have children that run to that TV every Sunday that want to love them and support them and root them on. But here you go, you got a guy that gets caught with a gun in the car, or you got a guy that gets caught with the domestic violence, or you have a guy that gets caught with the drugs, and they don't understand that impact that they have, or that decision impacts the children in our community. So if I got a star Antonio Brown football player and he can lose his mind or get caught with drugs and guns, I'm that high school football player that wants to do it too, because this is what my role model is doing. And I think it's like a personal goal of mine to be able to share my story, but also to educate them on how important their role is, just as a hero to our children. And if I was ever to get that platform, I would also encourage them that when they're not practicing a week, there's 55-man roster, go do some community work. You're making an awesome salary, and nobody's asking you to give $1. We don't want your money. We want your time, because your time will have a lasting impact more than any couple $100 you could donate to our community or to our children. And that's something that we just do not see enough of. You run into a Buccaneer all throughout the city, maybe at restaurants or other places, but how hard is it for you to donate just one day of your time a season?
Yeah. I do know, some of the players, they have their own foundations. But to your point, it's something that before the season goes, I know they have like their rookie camp and all the rookies that are coming in, they have this onboarding and they talk about the need to give back to the community. But, certainly someone with a message like yours or something would definitely benefit them, right? I know that they've got a couple of new folks in some leadership positions that are trying to advance some of this work. So I think you got to run them down, you got to find them, you got to connect with them, and then just say, hey, I think this might work. How can we partner together? I think they get it. I think they understand that they need to partner more with the community instead of expecting the community to just kind of wait on things. But they've got some good people in there that are trying to do it. We gotta connect. We gotta keep going.
So many families run down there and buy a ticket. So many families will go pay concessions. So many people will buy memorabilia, and we support them financially. But it's hard and it's devastating that a major organization like this is not helping us out socially.
Yeah.
Anybody can write a check and sit behind the table and give out money, but where's the community work at? We have this going down in Town and Country or East Tampa, and here goes some people that really care about the community. They're showing up. Don't care about, we're not asking you for a dollar. We're asking you for your time.
Yeah.
If you see, like we had a couple years ago, Tom really wasn't a true Buccaneer at heart, but we have some Buccaneers, that players that are, have been here for a couple seasons, that our community would love to see them because they're our larger than life people to our children, and just the impact that they can make with saying stay out of trouble, stay in school, continue to work football, and I just think those are some important ways. Just like the Lightning, a lot of I like what the Lightning owner has did with making sure a lot of the parks are covered, so that way the heat doesn't come down on the children. I've been told that they're creating a multi-million-dollar park right in front of the library. In front of the Lightning, next to the new addition, addition down there. They're gonna create a park. But even the Lightning players, we come down there, we support you, we pay our money, we cheer you on. But could you guys also donate some time to speak to the children?
Yeah.
We have to be more creative these days with how we attack our children. It's no longer we can sit them down at the house. Got grandma, auntie sitting there giving you the life lesson. Sometimes we need to hit it from all angles, and I think sports, hip hop, some of the other things that children are invested to, those are the people they need to hear from the most.
Yeah, I like to tell people it doesn't matter what what you're doing, what industry, what sector. If you have a platform, you have a responsibility, right? To give back and to pour back. So that's the best thing that you can do is give someone your time and be committed to it, right? So that, like I said, everybody knows that they can do better. But I know that like the Bucks, the Lightning, the Rays, they're trying to get into the community. These players, they're trying to get out there, but I think everybody can do a little bit better. And the community, too, can say, hey, we want you to come out, spend some time. But then this is also what we're trying to do, too, right?
I like, I'm a real big fan on accountability.
Yeah.
I like people who say, I'm going to hold you accountable and hold me accountable. Because now you have a sense of purpose there where if I slip, I'm going to be called out on it.
Right.
When nobody's holding you accountable to be to work at 8 o'clock, you're going to show up late sometimes. You're going to say, you know what, traffic, the children, there was a train. But when you have somebody holding you accountable, you're more cognizant of saying, you know what, I need to be on point. And I think, from a community standpoint, I think we can hold organizations or Safe and Sound accountable. And I think, also, what goes around comes around, so they can hold us accountable too. Don't ask for help and resources if you're not willing to say, I can hold you accountable too. We're going to teach you how to, run this efficiently in your community. We're going to give you the resources. We're going to show you how to apply for them. And then guess what? We're going to push you in the water. It's time to sail.
Right.
But, a couple months from now or 6 months from now, I circle back around and you're not doing those things. I got to hold you accountable or lose that partnership.
Yeah. I've been burned a couple of times, right? And so I hate being the person that has to tell people no sometimes. But,
that's when all your friends drop off. You tell them no and then they go.
People say, hey, can you help me do this? I'm like, great. All right, so here's the application. Here's the paperwork I need you to do. Well, no, I don't want to do all that. I can't do all that. I just want to get X, Y, Z done. I understand. But this is how it gets done.
Right.
And if I can't get you to understand that, then I can't do this, unfortunately. I'm not doing this to give you more work. I'm doing this to prepare you to get this way beyond the next measure, right? So if I can teach you how to get this grant and then help support you or get this project off the ground and teach you how to do it effectively, you won't have to come back to me because you'll be doing it on your own.
Right. And you'll be showing other people.
Right. And then you'll say, hey, Freddie, tell me how to do this.
Freddie, Freddie, as we getting closer to the end, is there any message that you want to get out to our community? Is there anything, and maybe you want to tell us the future direction of Safe and Sound, or is there anything that you would like to gift us with that we can, hold on to or look forward to from Safe and Sound organization or from any other information that you would like to put out for our community?
Yeah, so again, we've got some exciting things. I don't want to get into particulars, but we're going to really get into some opportunities to mentor these kids. There are going to be some resources that are going to be coming down for organizations to put on some projects. We want people to come there. We don't, Safe and Sound and me and everyone else, we don't want to be the experts because we're not, right? The experts are the people who are going through these things and feeling the pain and the hurt that's being happening. So we need to hear from the community about what they want to do, but we are going to have some opportunities for the community to be supported, and but we need you there, right? We need everybody to come out.
Okay. Well, I think, man, it's been an awesome show.
Yeah.
Freddie, I can't thank you enough for giving us your time. We know you're extremely busy. Last week Freddie was with the child who got shot in Sarasota last week. He was shot in the eye as a 13-year-old child, and he survived. Praise to God.
Yeah.
And there was a rally down there. So, Freddie, we definitely appreciate you making time for us. We understand
Absolutely.
how busy you are. But as a community, as a radio host, my job is to put out good information to our community in hopes that educating our community gives them a better opportunity to help out, to partner, to collaborate, to want to do more. We are failing as a society with not protecting our children. I said it to Freddie earlier that our state leads the nation in sending children to incarceration. Florida leads the nation on sending children to prison. And that's a real fact. You can Google it. It's statistic. You can look it up. We are trying to do things to prevent that and reduce the numbers. It's an awesome idea to have all these community leaders sit at the table to try to say, how can we partner collectively to reduce that number? Right. Freddie, I just want to let you know, Hillsborough County ranks 3rd.
Yep.
And sending juveniles to prison. Miami-Dade is number 1. Duval County is number 2. And Hillsborough County, Tampa is number 3 with sending children to incarceration. As you know, there are not thousands, but hundreds of cities in our state. Hillsborough is 3rd in sending children to prison. Right. And a lot of it is not on the child. A lot of it is on the parent. Right. We're not parenting them correctly or not educating them correctly on do's and don'ts. If you don't have time to mentor your own child, what do you think is going to happen?
Right.
They're going to get in the street.
They're going to find somebody to do it.
They're going to find something to do. It's not those eras of play when it get dark and then come back. When we were growing up, it's over with.
Yeah, those street lights now.
The street light come on, mama said you better be home. Now, you got all types of things going on, and most importantly, a lot of parents aren't paying attention to their children. Yeah. So they're going to find mischief. They're going to find trouble. They're going to find things to get involved with, and unfortunately, those things happen to be wrong things.
Yeah.
So it's been a wonderful show, Freddie. I can't thank you enough. I thank everybody for tuning in today here at Stay Woke. We miss you, Michelle. Hopefully I held it down for you. We had the great Freddie Barton on our show. Freddie, we want to thank you so much for your time and attention. And guys, next week we'll be back. Stay woke.
All right.
You gotta stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. You gotta stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. You gotta stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke.
Hey, yo, obvious. Yo.